Hello, everybody. We are recording, and this is a workshop which Allison is going to lead on create your own healing fairy tale. Allison Quaid, who is in Germany at the moment. So Allison is very dedicated to doing healing work with fairy tales. Her website is, what is it exactly, Allison?
healingfairytales.com.
Great. So it's a great honor and pleasure that you're doing this workshop here in the Chennai Storytelling Festival. And please take over the session, and we are all ears.
Thank you so much, Eric. I'm super excited to be here among all you storytellers and lovers of stories. And honored to be part of this program. I know I've gotten so much from it, and I am super excited to share with you how you can write your own healing fairy tale. I am going to, I don't know if I go in presenter mode, if you guys will actually, okay. So today, I know we were just talking about Cinderella, which is, there's some elements of a healing tale there. And actually Cinderella was one of my favorite tales. And I feel like part of why I started to be interested in fairy tales was because I was always waiting for the prince to come save me, right? I was always waiting for that prince, even though I was married, to come and see me or recognize me. And I got into writing about healing fairy tales as a way of kind of serendipitously of getting over trauma and PTSD from some abuse that happened when I was a child. So I'm going to give you a little bit more background about that story, but let me tell you what we're going to do today. This next 90 minutes is going to zoom by because we're going to do a ton of writing. So now's your turn. I don't know if you're like me, but whenever I hear about stories, I start thinking about a story I want to write. So today we're going to talk about what's a healing fairy tale as I define it for purposes of this project I created. You're going to write about what's your tale. We're going to I'm going to give you some questions for you to answer five different aspects of your story so you can start to define it. Then we are going to do some writing prompts, and you'll be sharing that with one other person. We'll break into groups of 2, and that will happen twice. And then we'll have some closing comments about what you learned what you learned from your story. So get ready to write. There's a ton of writing. So how do I say healing, what is a healing fairy tale for me? That's a story that shows a character gaining in a positive way. So they're learning, growing. There is some aspect of that character that was unconscious that they become conscious about, and they become empowered to change themselves. So for me, that's kind of the magic. And I believe when you do unconscious writing, you really tap into kind of your inherent wisdom that's deep within you. I've led many women writing retreats in Europe. And what I've learned is that sometimes people write a healing tale in 6 minutes. If you're like me, it might take 6 years. These tales can take, it might be something quick that comes out of your unconscious, or it might be something that really takes a couple months or even a couple years to work through and to try to understand. I kind of use healing tales as a way to, if there's something that I'm trying to understand that I can't, what I've come up with is kind of like a recipe for you to write your own healing tale that can be used to apply to any issue. And everyone can write. There's no need to be a writer in any way, shape, or form. I always say that if there's some part of the story that makes you emotional or makes you smile or tear up, you know, that's kind of the gift of writing this tale for yourself. So I did a project. I'm currently doing a project that we launched in the last fall, and I've worked with about 50 primarily women from around the world who have written healing tales. I started with a base of about 10 healing tales, and then I reached out to other women who had been part of, who might have been abused or had some trauma, or who were drawn to the stories to illustrate them. And my hope was that these tales plant a seed in someone who might read it, who will plant a seed of compassion or healing, that with them working with that seed, watering it with their own attention and insight, that they, you know, they come to loving insights about themselves. So that's, I'll just share with you a little video that we did that shows some of the fairy tales from women from around the world. And it's very, very international project. Let me see if I can do full screen here.
Welcome to the magical world of healing fairy tales. Step into these enchanted tales that feature characters who transform their inner pain into emotion.
The sound is coming, but no video.
Oh, okay. How about now? Does that work?
No.
No? Okay.
You have to unshare and share the full desktop. Right now, you just share the presentation,
Uh-huh.
share the screen, and then you can.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, I'll start. This shows you the variety of illustrators and different writers that I worked with.
Now the video, now the video is coming, but no sound. When you first go into screen share, on the lower left, there's a box you have to click saying share computer sound. You would have to
Okay.
go out of it and come back into it again.
Okay, let me see if I can. So when I do share screen, I put
Lower left. Do you see
under
the
audio settings?
lower left? It says share computer sound. When you just go into screen share.
Okay. When I go into screen share, I don't have the option to share
It
sound.
doesn't say share computer sound?
No, not.
Oh, well, maybe try it one more time, and if it doesn't work, just give us a summary of the video.
Yeah.
Or give a voiceover while we look at the video.
Okay, so you can see the video. Okay, so it's little excerpts of the different stories, and I'll just do a little bit of a voiceover. So this is about a story about a woman transforming her inner pain. So stories are for your inner child. Can be for people who are bullied, a wide range of different trauma. So there's a story called Broken Compass about a woman who loses her way and can't find her way until finally she does. This is a story about a woman named Bella whose tongue is frozen from fear, and she finally is able to sing her own song because of the friendships she's develops. This is about a woman who named Singing Win, who gains her voice and her name from nature. this is about a story about Freedom the cat, who a woman suffers from anxiety and she's able to conquer that anxiety. This is about a girl who's depressed and bullied at school who finds a new friend. So I will pause there. So that gives you a little bit of a sense of what are the different stories. If you go to the website, you'll see them there. Now I'm gonna go back to sharing. So in terms of, so they're all stories that you can, that show some type of emotional healing of the character. And so, and what I have found that everybody knows some type of fairy tale, every culture has some type of folk tale or fairy tale. And by having a certain format, people are able to really pull from their unconscious to get to whatever is that's bothering them. They're able to use this method to have some insights that maybe they didn't know about something that they're wrestling with. So I know all of you decided to come to this Healing Fairy Tale workshop at whatever normal or crazy time it is in your time zone. So if you have, you can type on your tablet or your laptop, or if you have pen and paper. What we're going to do is speed writing. So speed writing or free writing is where you write for 6 minutes, even if it's just to write, I don't know what to write, but we're going to write, you're going to write what your intention or hope is for writing this tale. So I'm going to time 6 minutes.
Sorry to disturb you, Allison.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have started my video, but some problem with the, I don't know whether you can see me. Hope you can hear me. I have a question. Okay.
Yeah.
I write stories, and thanks to this Chennai Storytelling Festival 2021, I could give a shot at writing a healing story. But when we are talking about writing a healing fairy tale, then how is it different? How is it different?
Yes,
How
it's a
is
good.
writing a healing fairy tale different than writing a healing story? What makes it a fairy tale?
That's a very good question. And I think in the bottom and kind of like at the most basic route, there is not a difference. If you're writing a healing tale or a healing fairy tale, that there is not a difference. For me, I came up from, for me, it was writing stories that have some type of magical realism in them, right? There's some element of magical realism. It's a short tale. So a healing story, there might not be the magical realism. It might be fiction. It might be nonfiction. So it's always a fictional magic realism tale that, and also I found out that working with people, when you say a healing fairy tale, everyone kind of goes back to when they were a child. And sometimes this format can be helpful in terms of reaching into something that might have still blocked us from being a child that we're able to access. So at the heart of it, I think all healing stories, you know, they're all about becoming more whole, more complete, more of who we are in our authentic way. This is just a kind of a riff off a fairy tale-like story. Does that answer it?
I think it does.
That's good. Okay, great. So let's, I don't want to, so are you all ready to write? Let's see some waves of hands.
Yes, we are
Okay, I
ready.
see some thumbs ups. Perfect. Okay, on your marks, get set, go. I'm going to time 6 minutes.
And again,
I
we're
hope-
writing about what we hope to get out of the story? Oh,
Yeah,
can
what
you
you
say it
hope
again?
to get out from writing your own tale, what you hope to get. So I'll share the prompt. Right. So the prompt is, I hope writing this tale. So start. You've got 6 minutes to just write. So write down whatever comes to mind. Just keep writing, writing, writing. Even if to write, I don't know what I'm supposed to write. Just keep writing, writing, writing. Maybe about something you want to know about yourself, something you want to unlock. Okay, you have about 2.5 minutes left. Keep going. Okay, we have about a minute left.
No. Okay.
Lovey, can you mute yourself? Thanks. Okay, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. So there's nothing more I love to see than is people writing about something that's writing their tale. So this is very exciting for me. I wish I could be with all of you in person. Okay, so now you're clear about why you want to write your tale. The next step is we're going to actually start writing that tale. So what we're going to do is I have 5 questions for you to have a better sense of what is this healing fairy tale that you want to write. So the first question is, who is the main character? Is it a human, man, woman, child? Is it an animal? Or is it a ghost or spirit? Or is it an alien? So what I want you to do is to maybe just write in bullet points, however it feels good for you, to talk about this character. So what do they look like? Do they have long hair or short hair, or big ears or color eyes? How old are they? What's their dream? What do they dream of? And what is it that they want more than anything? So I'm going to time for 2 minutes.
Can I just ask about the nature
Yeah.
of the healing, whether I'm looking at a healing in myself, or can it be a healing to do with others around me in my life?
Yes, well, I think those will both be, I mean, I think ultimately, though, even if the other person heals, or the situation, that will be healing for you, right? So I would say go with what you're most drawn towards.
Thank you.
Yep. So, okay, 2 minutes writing about who is this mysterious character that's now coming into resolution. On your marks, get set, go. Is this person tall, or do they have thin hands, or do they have short hair? Or is it a dog or a cat? Or what does that person like to eat? Where do they go for walks? And what is it that they dream about? What does that also get into the inner world of that character? What do they want more than anything? And what is one of their biggest fears? Is it snakes? Is it caterpillars? This character can be as big as small as you want. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so because I really want to make sure you guys get that your story takes shape today, I'm going to keep going through these different prompts, and then, like I said, you're going to have a chance to share with somebody else about who is this character you're writing about. Okay. Here is our next prompt for 2 minutes. What force is stopping your lead character? And instead of, you can be literal, or you can use metaphors. So what does that force look like? Is it small or big? Does it have a rough noise, or is it quiet? So, and thinking about that force as a character, you know, does it have a favorite phrase? What is that force that's stopping that character from getting what he or she wants? How does that impact them? So of course, this will be the counteracting force on your main character. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. On your marks, get set, go. So you might think about the color of this force, the texture, the taste, the smell. What does this character wear? Or is it invisible? Is it an invisible character? Is it just a shadow? And what kind of power does it have that it's able to act as a counterbalance to what the lead character wants and to stand in that character's way? What kind of power does it have? Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So everyone okay? It's hard because I can't see people. I do notice everyone's got their heads down, so I take that as a good sign. Okay, we've got just 3 more. Okay, great. Now, where is this story taking place? So is it in like a fairy tale? Are there castles around? Is there a forest? Is it a sunny place or is it a cloudy and gloomy place? Is it happening in outer space near Mars, on the moon? What is the setting for your story? So knowing that, you know, a good setting in a story is like a character itself. So at least when the story begins, what is that setting? Is that a house? Is that a mountain? So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to talk about where the story takes place. All right, go. So think, is it a warm place? Is it a cold place? Is it a friendly place or is it a not so friendly place? So just imagine you're where the lead character is. Just looking around. What do you see on the floor? What do you see in the sky? Maybe what's out the window? Is it green and leafy, or is it barren? Is it rocky, or is there sand? You can describe the inside and outside world. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're more than halfway through. We've got 2 more writing prompts. So you guys are doing great in terms of starting to see and be in that story that you're going to write. So the next question is there any magic in your story? Is there some genie? Or do some of the characters, maybe the lead that you described or the villain, do either of them have magic powers, or does the place have magic power? Are there fairies there? So is there any type of magic in that story that you want to put in? If so, now is the time to think about it and who has that magic. So on your marks, get set, go. And of course, this magic is going to be something that helps the character get to where they're seeking to go. Even if it takes them in the wrong direction initially. So you can have magic wands, magic stone, magic gems, maybe even magic words. Maybe there's a word that one of your characters says that's magical, that makes everything disappear. Okay, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, now we're ready for our very last prompt in terms of we're really kind of preparing the story soil, as I like to say. Finally, what is there a lesson that you want your story to tell? Maybe it's a tragedy, but is there something, I'm not sure if you're writing this tale for yourself or maybe for somebody else. Maybe this is a tale you want to share with your granddaughter or your own child. Maybe this is a story you wish that someone would have written that you could have read as a young person. So what is the lesson that you want this story to point to? Is it self-compassion, trust, faith, speaking up for oneself? So jot down some bullet points about what do you want the story to teach? All right, go. And maybe if you're writing the story for yourself, it's something about that you want to learn. Is there some area that you want to learn yourself? Or a skill, patience, or presence, being more present? Is it a story that will tell someone else how to be more in the present moment? how to overcome fear. And maybe be thinking, how is this lesson going to come about? What might be the plot or some of the events that can make this lesson come to life? Now that you know your character, your main character, your villain or antagonist, what is the path that main character is going to have to travel? Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, you did it. You have laid down some of the bare bones of your story. And the next part that we're going to go to before I open it up is we're going to write for 6 minutes about a piece of the story. So obviously, and you can pick one or the other prompt. And if you pick Once Upon a Time, of course, you're at the beginning of the story, you have your setting in mind, you have your character, or it could be somewhere in the middle. You know, then the worst possible thing happened. So decide upon which of these writing prompts that you want to pick. And we're going to write on that for 6 minutes.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we continue writing the same story, or are you giving a writing prompt for a new story that we're supposed to write?
No, from the same story that you've been talking about, the characters and setting.
Okay.
So, you know, now that you have all of, you know, not all of the elements, but you have some of the key elements of your story, now you get to start writing that story. So, and how this best works is just really by trusting that whatever you type or whatever comes out is the right thing. This is not about creating something that's written grammatically correct or that sounds good or that makes sense. It's really about letting the fairy godmother within or the unconscious part of you to take over and write. So really let yourself go here. No one is going to read this or see this. So let yourself have some fun. There's no right or wrong answer here. So let's go. So you have 6 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah, 6 minutes. Once upon a time, or then the worst possible thing happened. Go.
Can we use both the writing prompts?
If you get through them, yes, that's fine. Yep. You've got 6 minutes. And just keep writing, writing, writing. Whatever comes to mind. Just keep writing. If you need to, think back about the setting or the villain or where this why you're writing this tale. Okay, about 2 minutes left. Have about 30 seconds left. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift off. Okay, now what we're gonna do next is, I know a lot of you have all these juicy characters with interesting magical powers and themes, and I'd like to hear them all, but we're going to break you up into breakout rooms with just one other person. So you have 10 minutes and you each have 5 minutes to either write, I mean, you can either read something if you want, or you can actually just talk about your character and your story and what you discovered about this interesting character that just has magically come out of you, come out of your imagination, your heart and your soul. So Eric, if you could give the
Yes,
breakout.
Allison, the thing is that there are 93 people here, but only about half have their cameras on. So the people who don't have their cameras on, often some of them have gone to the kitchen and are not going to be able to participate. So I suggest we put at least 3 people in each room. With the
Okay,
hope
great.
that, okay?
Yep, that sounds good.
Yeah. So we're going to put 3 people in each room. And if you're in a room without anybody active, please come back to the main room immediately, okay? Or after 30 seconds, come back to the main room. Okay, so just give me a second here to set this up.
So that would mean everyone has a little bit more than 3 minutes. So I would ask that someone be the timekeeper. Just, you know, self-assign yourself the timekeeper, and so that everybody has a chance to share about their characters. And
How many minutes?
why don't we maybe give 15 minutes so people still have 5 minutes? Because I find often, why don't we do 15 minutes?
Okay, so it's 15 minutes. So if there are 3 people, each one gets 5. If there's 2 people
Yes.
there, each one gets 7.5.
Yes, yeah.
And can they, after they tell the story, can they discuss it also, or no?
Yes, for sure. If there was, I think what's important is that everyone gets their 5 minutes to
Very
just
good.
talk about their character, their story, or to read from it. That's very important.
Okay, let me know when we should invite people to go.
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Hello.
Allison, do I see you?
Yes,
Good,
yes, I'm here.
good. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so I'm very anxious to hear what everyone found out. But before that, because I know this is a whole weekend of storytelling, we're going to do one last writing prompt, and then we're going to come back as a larger group to share, since we don't have enough time for the breakout. But so one last writing prompt, and then you have a whole weekend of listening to stories. But this is about you right now. So the last writing prompt for this workshop is she knew that she had won when. So she or he or it knew that they had won when. Okay, so you're writing about your character that you were just excitedly sharing with somebody else. So on your marks, get set, go. We're going to speed write for 6 minutes about how your character knew that they had won the day. Right, whatever comes to your mind, whatever crazy idea comes. This is the moment of triumph for our character.
Allison, sorry, but I have another question. You're on mute.
Sorry, if you can put it in the chat.
I'll do that. Yeah,
Thanks.
sure.
Okay, we got about 3 more minutes. And someone just asked me, even if maybe this character has lost something, that's also very powerful. Maybe there's magic in this scene. Maybe there's tears, maybe there's joy. About 2 more minutes. Maybe describe what your character is seeing. What are they feeling? This is a key turning point for our character, for your character. Okay, 30 seconds left. Just keep writing. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. All right, I am so excited. Now we'll just have an open forum. Would love to hear anyone who wants to share about your character or this experience, anything that happened.
Can I go?
Yeah.
I do have a question. So
Yeah.
in my story, there were 5 girls, and they all had an important element and part to the story. So there was like no one protagonist. So is that fine? Can that work?
Yes, yes, it can work. You can have, you know, it's like a team effort or different pieces. I mean, they often say we're all of our characters, right? So, but you can have different, doesn't need to just be a single hero. You can have a team for sure.
And I'm sorry, there's just one more question. I just
Yeah.
want to know that, I mean, what is the difference between writing and verbalizing it? I mean, what happens when you write it, and what if, so there are some people who are a little reluctant to write. So what if they just more comfortable with talking about it? So what are your thoughts on it?
I think that when you write, your unconscious takes over and it will share things with you. That's why I think it's powerful, and I think it's accessible to anyone. Like you don't need to write well. You don't need to be a trained writer. I think the power of free writing is that you tap into something that is kind of hidden in your unconscious, so that, you know, and if you're able to speak, some people are able to imagine a story and say it, that would be fine too. But once you write something and then you talk about it, it's different ways of kind of digesting your own material and sharing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to say something. So so the third prompt that you gave us, the worst possible thing ever. So that somehow that gave me a lot of time to think about the worst possible thing that happened, and I build it up, and I build it up really strong. So for me, uh, even though before that prompt I knew that I have a tendency to do that, so the story outline that I was thinking about, I tried to somehow think of how this character would deal with it, whatever the problem would be. But because I built the worst thing that happened too strong, that somehow what I built earlier wasn't as powerful later on. So then I had to uh, think a lot about how she won, or how the character came out powerful. So maybe I wanted to know about more prompts that could help the character grow out of some worst thing that happened.
Yes, I hear what you're saying. Because you're right, you had built up, it sounds like a very formidable force that she had to reckon with and deal with. And that's not going to happen over, might not just be one thing that's going to happen, right? So I do have a healing fairy tale guide at healingfairytales.com that I can share. There's like a 3-page handout where, that you can use. And, you can kind of go step by step in terms of, instead of going, you knew that she had won, it could be you knew things were getting better, or she or he felt stronger. So, think about how you're building up the resilience. I know someone was sharing a story of a character who was, they got out of a situation by rowing their boat. And then once they got to shore, they were looking at telephone lines. So they were then, they were taking breadcrumbs home. So yeah, think about maybe just how it's getting one step better, and that will help you get there to the end.
Yeah, thanks. So the later on, the last prompt that we got was helpful, and it did to give us time to reflect a lot about how the character won. But yeah, I think the process needs to be a bit different for some stories, because sometimes they don't win, but they need to travel a little more to win. So thank you.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And that was the question someone had asked, what if my character has lost something? And I think, ultimate, these are stories that we're writing about some aspect of ourselves, and the power, if we've lost something, there's some learning there. There's some growing about maybe accepting something, and accepting that transformation or that shift in events. So I would say the point of a healing fairy tale isn't to necessarily have a happy ending. It's to have that character kind of grows and evolves and change, even if it's just a step forward. It doesn't have to be a happy ending, but that character has to have either more insight or more compassion or more awareness, more love, more joy about them, themselves, that character. Yeah, Anushka?
Anusuya.
Anushka? Yes.
Yeah, so this was a really beautiful experience. Thank you for that, because I tend to, when I write stories, I tend to write linearly with each image or each stage that comes to my mind. But that, with writing in 6 minutes, I was able to kind of know who my character was, know what the main, troublesome situation or the antagonist was, and
get a resolution, and I can actually stitch together the story very clearly. So that was like, this is, I have never written anything so fast. So so I just want to thank you, and if it is possible, maybe later I can share the story with you. Can I?
Yes, I would love that. I would love for you to send that to me and share that
Yeah.
with me. There is, I will put an email here.
Yeah, sure, please.
For you guys, just team at healing. So the healing fairy tales, there are other fairy tale godmothers there, and we love to hear stories, and we try to pair stories with illustrators. So you can always go, oh, I didn't do it to everyone, sorry. I will share that. Other things about what came up. Is anyone excited to finish their story, writing their story? Okay, a couple, yay. That's great.
I think I've written a very unusual fairy tale. I have not read a fairy tale about a mother and daughter. I've ended up almost, firming up the plot, and I would love to write it and have you read it if you will, please.
Yes, I would love to. Like, I am serious, like nothing gets me more excited than watching people write, and yeah, I think for me, I love this format because it's a format that I use myself just in terms of trying to understand, and it's a longer format. So if you go to the website, there's a PDF that you can download. And I also just finished putting out a book with some of my fairy tales, and it has a more detailed healing fairy tale worksheet. But like I was saying, sometimes it can take you a couple of days to write one, or it can take you a couple months or a couple years. It's kind of, sometimes you want your character to get to the resolution, and they don't always go as fast as you want. So it's kind of like you got to go at your own pace. So, Misha?
Yeah. Hi, Allison. Thanks so much for this experience. I enjoyed it. What I'd like to share is that it's not much of a story, but it gave me a lot of insights and has given me a lot of food for thought, So, for example, just to share, the one element in my story was a kite that helps, or helps a little character fly. And I'm surprised that I chose a kite because I am someone who is terrified of heights. And yet at the end, it is the kite that I am looking for that is lost. And that is the thing that, kind of gets me out of stuff. And so there are other things that kind of have got me thinking, So I found this very insightful kind of sort of. So thanks. Very helpful in many ways.
Great. I'm so pleased to hear that.
Yeah. Yes, I also okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Hemalata?
Yeah, thank you so much, Allison. This was, with the prompts that you provided, I think our creativity went haywire, and it really started going in all directions and getting to an insightful sort of making us think that there is so much and so a lot that you can really dwell upon when you think of a character, and the ways in which you can dwell upon. So that was beautiful, leading us through those prompts, and we'd be very grateful if you could share some more prompts with us so that we could develop this in a way in which it could be helpful to many and also help us to go on the journey of creative writing. Thanks a lot. It was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the next session is going to begin in 3 minutes. So Allison, if you'd like to say some final thoughts, or anyone else in 1 or 2 minutes, go ahead, but we have to stop. Allison's email ID is on the presenters page. You can follow up with her. In general, people are encouraged to send a contribution, either to the festival or to the individual presenters. What you just received was a real workshop. So it would be appropriate if Allison got some contributions for this. But Allison, thank you very much. It was a great follow-up to Alida Gersi's workshop for people who attended both. And I especially appreciated your mentioning of magical realism. I think that helped me and others get a sense of how to approach the magic in fairy tales. So Allison, do you want to say anything finally?
Well, just that I'm so excited that I got to partake and kind of write with you guys, even all over the world, and that that more people are writing healing fairy tales. It's very exciting because I think at the end of the day, any way that we are kind of healing ourselves, being more connected to our hearts, being more aware of who we are, there's just more joy and love in the world. So thank you all.
Just one last question, please. Okay, I was able to create a good story as my partner told in the breakout session. So just one thing, the material will be available on the website, or you can share with us the material. The presentation.
Why don't you people who have doubts and questions, please send an email to Allison. You'll find it on the presenters page. Valentina and Misha, did you want to say something quick, or go ahead, Valentina?
I had a direct question. When you say you keep working on your story, is like if the ending today is not really it's death. So what do? You just keep working, but then is it not going to be a more conscious, rational ending then?
Well, I mean, if you have an ending, then that's great. You got to maybe where that character wanted to bring you, right? That part of you that was unresolved. So sometimes I'm just saying you don't always get there. So, but yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. And thank you, Eric, so much, and everyone for playing along with me.
Thank you so much. You obviously have a very deep love for fairy tales, and we appreciate that you shared it with us.
Eric, I want to share quickly 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
There is time. Okay. Thank you, Allison, for such a generous workshop. Thank you so much. It was so powerful. At the end of the session, what I have gained is that life is an experience. Life is a story making in itself. Enjoying every moment so that you make a beautiful story at the end of the day. That is the kind of a story that I could make, and it was a healing process for myself. So thank you so much, Allison. Thank you.